Welcome to Module 2.3, where we'll delve into the security aspects of smart contracts, exploring past security incidents, as well as best practices to ensure robust smart contract security. Smart contracts brought a new level of flexibility and programmability to blockchain technology, leading to the growth of the dApps ecosystem. But what makes smart contracts unique, their immutability based on coded logic, also opens doors for attackers to exploit potential vulnerabilities. It's challenging to pinpoint the total value stolen or lost due to these security lapses, especially considering the volatility of crypto prices. However, one of the most notable incidents was the DAO hack in 2016 on Ethereum, in which 3.6 million Ether were taken. That amount would be worth billions in 2023. So, what common vulnerabilities do smart contracts face? One of the most notorious is the re-entrancy attack. This type of attack happens when an external entity can repeatedly invoke a function in a contract before the earlier call has finished, often siphoning off funds in the process. Then there's the issue of default visibility. Vulnerabilities can arise when developers overlook the visibility specifiers of functions. By default, if not explicitly stated, functions are set to public when they should be private. Additionally, denial of service (DOS) attacks pose a threat to smart contracts, potentially leaving them inoperable temporarily or even indefinitely. While these examples highlight a few major vulnerabilities, they're not an exhaustive representation. The smart contract landscape is ever evolving, and with it, new challenges and vulnerabilities might emerge. To illustrate the severe consequences of smart contract vulnerabilities, let's delve into the technical intricacies of the DAO reentrancy attack. DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations, are essentially governed by rules encoded into smart contracts. The DAO, established on the Ethereum platform, functioned as a venture capital fund tailored for the crypto sector, raising 12.7 million Ether in 2016. Upon analyzing the DAO smart contract, the attacker identified a vulnerability in the split DAO function, or a recursive calling flaw. One of the features of the DAO was the ability for a user to split from the DAO and create a child DAO. This was intended for users who disagreed with investment decisions. When splitting, users could take their proportion of the Ether with them. The attacker identified that the split DAO function, when called, first sent the Ether to the user and then updated the DAO's internal token balance. The attacker exploited this sequencing by making a recursive function call during the first step, before the DAO had a chance to update the balance. It's worth noting that the real flaw wasn't just in the recursive call but in the ordering of operations, in the smart contract function, and the lack of mechanisms to prevent reentrancy. The devastating consequence of this smart contract reentrancy attack went far beyond the millions of drained Ether. It led to a division of the Ethereum community and eventually a hard fork to revert all transactions to the state before the attack. It is the reason why the Ethereum network split into two, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Although the DAO creators were aware of this vulnerability and had reportedly addressed it, the attacker's successful exploitation underscores the formidable security challenges associated with smart contracts. So, what are the best practices of smart contract security? Firstly, it's critical to diversify your risks. One method is by adopting role-based access control. Instead of designating a single address as the owner of a smart contract, consider a system that utilizes multiple administrative accounts, distributing access to sensitive functions among trusted parties. For instance, one account might be tasked with minting tokens, while another oversees upgrades. Incorporating multi-signature accounts for managing a contract can also be beneficial. Given the immutable nature of smart contracts, thorough testing for unforeseen scenarios is paramount. Employ a blend of diverse testing methods to guarantee rigorous quality assessment. This should encompass unit testing, which evaluates specific functions, alongside static and dynamic analyses, as well as formal verification. You can also conduct a smart contract audit or launch a bug bounty program, which offers financial incentives to white-hat hackers who identify vulnerabilities. At the core of smart contract security, however, is adherence to best practices during the development phase. Many of these principles emphasize the importance of crafting high-quality code, a topic beyond the scope of this module. Finally, having a solid disaster recovery plan is essential should any vulnerabilities be exploited. Preparing a contract upgrade mechanism can be beneficial if a severe flaw compromises your existing contract. Another precaution is to integrate emergency stops that can halt calls to potentially compromised functions. Such a measure can promptly prevent attackers from inflicting further harm, especially considering contract upgrades can be time-consuming to execute. In the next and final module of this section, we'll take a closer look at smart contract composability.